Hello, hello, hello. It is Thursday, September 23rd, and it is 11:11 p.m. My name is Jenna. This is 11:11 with Jenna. If you're watching it live, which I see two of you are right now, thank you, thank you, thank you. You're watching live, but you can also be watching this on YouTube. And if you're watching it on YouTube, come on over to Facebook and hang out when it's live, when it's happening. But you're watching it on YouTube, thank you very much. Subscribe, hang out, watch all 980 some shows or something like that, because we're coming up on a big number next week. But who's here? I don't even know who's here right now. Can't see. I don't know. Michael B. Peltz and Bonnie Barker. Bonnie Barker. How you doing? So it's Thursday. Tomorrow morning, Armando Ortega, my name is Armando Ortega, will be here. We talk food. We mostly talk desserts, but we do talk food. And we talk family because he's my cousin. And we talk about California because he lives in LA with his wife Snowy and their son Joaquin. And hiya. Hey, Michael Peltz. And then I was going to say nope, but it's a side joke. Hello. Friday night, display and share. And I have somebody that I think is going to come on who lives in Chicago. I hope. He lived in the Bay Area. We probably stood next to each other at Yoshi's or Slim's or something over the years, but now lives in Chicago. And today, he saved multiple people in a fire that happened in downtown Chicago. I didn't hear any more about it, but we talked, and I said, before that, I'm like, why don't you come on the show tomorrow night? And he goes, yeah, okay, I'll display and share something. And I said, so what have you been up to today? Oh, I saved people in a fire. I'm like, oh, well, I walked my dog and made lunch for my mom, and we watched Jeopardy. Are any of you watching Jeopardy? Oh my goodness, this kid on Jeopardy. You guys, if you're not watching Jeopardy and you just say, oh, I never watched, just watch it. Just watch Jeopardy. Hello, William D. Lindemann. I know you don't like to watch Jeopardy because you said you don't like to, it doesn't make you feel very smart. Well, I don't think anybody feels very smart next to this cat. But these other kids that were on it today they kind of gave him a run. Grace and I were like, oh, is he gonna, oh. Well, so anyway, that's tomorrow night. And then Saturday morning, one more Saturday morning with Jeff Metzger. Saturday night, one more Saturday night with Gary Lambert. Sunday morning, Alex Martinez. Sunday night, Poetry Glam. Get your poems together. I'm telling you. Get your poems together and be here Sunday night. And then Monday we meander, and Monday night we meditate, and Tuesday morning, Patty. That was fun. Wasn't that fun? And then Tuesday night, Dr. Andrew Rader, and Wednesday morning we walk, and Wednesday night's community, and Thursday morning is Michael, and Thursday night is Conversations with the Creatives or Corona Roki, but tonight is royalty. This is like, I don't even know how to describe this woman. Her biography is beyond, and you're just going to have to go to her website and read about her biography. But to me, she's the queen of the music business. She's a manager, she's a lawyer, she's knows everybody, she's super cool, and her husband's from Pontiac, Michigan. Ladies and gentlemen, Gail Boyd. She did it. Hello.
Hello, how are you, Jenna?
Thanks, Dave. Hi, Patty. Hi there.
Hi, I will pay you for that introduction. That was great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for being here. I love this room you're in. Where are you?
This is my home office in Macungie, Pennsylvania.
Macungie?
Macungie. It's a First Nations name for feeding place of the bears in Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania.
See, right there, she gets a standing ovation right Right at the beginning. Right at the beginning. Hey, Rob. Hi, Carol. So right now there are people from, yes, she is from Chicago. Born and raised in
Yes,
Chicago?
absolutely. Well, born in LaGrange, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago, and then moved to Chicago at a very early age and lived on all three sides of the city, south, north, and west. You know, there is no east side.
No, he said. There are at least three people right there from Chicago right now on the show.
Oh, tell them I said hey.
Chicago, Illinois, Canada, California, Northern and Southern and Central. Yeah, representing.
All
Nope.
right. I love it.
Pennsylvania. How long have you lived there?
16 years. We were in New York forever. And around 2005, when the real estate market started, heating up a lot, my husband and I said, well, we'll sell our apartment if it ever gets to like X. And it got to X. And then we were like, why don't we think about, selling and moving? And we did. And we moved out here and built our home.
How wonderful.
Yeah, I love it.
Whidbey Island, Washington. Have you ever been up there on the island?
Where?
Whidbey Island.
No, I haven't.
Seattle, and you take a, well, my friend Suzanne's on right now too. You guys, this woman is, do you play an instrument?
Yes, I've had about,
Besides the telephone and your laptop, do you play an instrument?
I've had about 4 months, maybe 6 months of violin lessons. And I actually think I'm going to go back and start taking them again. I really like them.
That's cool. I like that. What do you remember your first concert?
Well, I can tell you, my father was what they call a record turner in Chicago. And that means he was like a DJ in nightclubs, not on radio.
Turner.
A record turner. They called them that in the 50s because the promotions, people from the various record companies would come to the DJs in the clubs and give them the music, give them albums. And then, of course, they would play them in the nightclubs and people would hear it and they would go to the record stores, remember those, the next day and buy the records. So my father had a huge collection. So the first time I can actually remember a concert was Chuck Jackson. You remember the guy who, well, no, you're too young, but he sang I Wake Up Crying, and he was at the Regal Theater in Chicago. I was a preteen, and I remember he would come out on stage and he'd be in bed with the covers over him and the music would start, and then he would come out of bed and say, I wake up crying after tossing and turning and yearning the whole night through. And then he would throw the covers off and he would come on stage. And I remember having my mother take me to see that because I was too young to go by myself. And she was just looking at me and saying, this poor child. So that was my first concert that I can actually remember going to at the Regal Theater in Chicago.
Wow. That's incredible. And you went to DePaul?
I went to DePaul for undergrad and law school. So I'm a double demon, they call it, because the mascot at DePaul are the Blue Demons. And if you go to more than one school in DePaul, they call you a double demon.
The double demon. Hey, Carl Hess. How did you get into, she's a music manager, but you're more than a music manager. So that I don't even want to put the title on you. You're the president of your own. Hi, Mama Grace. My mom's here. You're the
hi, Mama Grace.
president of your own management company.
Yes.
You manage, your roster is huge. And
yes,
we can talk about that too. But what made you decide to get into the music side of this lovely business that we're in together?
So when I was 5 years old, I knew I wanted to become a lawyer because I had gone to summer camp and one of the girls stole another girl's watch. And the camp counselor decided that she would form like a little court among the girls in the thing. So she appointed one girl as the defense attorney and one girl as the prosecutor. And then she had, of course, a witness. And then the rest of the girls were the jury.
Really?
I think her father was a lawyer. So at any rate, I was the defense. And I won my case because nobody could prove that the little girl that they accused of stealing the watch had actually stolen it. So I came home and told my mother I wanted to be a lawyer.
You won your
So
first case when you were 5 years old.
5 years old, yes. And so I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. And then around the time that I don't remember now exactly how old I was, but I remember that Florence Ballard from the Supremes had left and was doing very badly. And I just kept saying, how does that happen? How is it that someone who was in a famous group end up not doing well financially? And it was around that same time that Johnny Mathis, I remember that someone stole a lot of his money. I can't remember, but it was like tons of his money. And so I just remember saying, well, who's looking out for these artists? I mean, how does it happen that somebody can steal their money or that they can leave a singing group and not be financially well off? So then I decided I wanted to be a lawyer who represented artists, music. And because my father was a DJ in the clubs and had all these jazz records, it's kind of a natural.
That's really. So then you did that. You were in Chicago. Did you ever manage anyone in Chicago, or did it happen in New York?
No, I managed Sherry Scott, who was the female member of Earth, Wind and Fire, the first female member of Earth, Wind
Have
and
you
Fire.
heard that? The first female member of Earth, Wind and Fire. Hello.
Yeah, she wasn't with them at the time. She had left, but she's the one who wrote, I Think About Loving You and some of their other earlier hits. So I did manage her for a while. And that I pretty much started managing though when I got to New York in I didn't really start managing until 1991 full time, but I sort of danced around the edges of it a little bit before then. But this is my 30th anniversary.
Wow. Great. I'll clap for her again. This is a really rowdy crowd. I just want to warn you now.
You can see.
Crazy. And they like go on and on and on. So who was your first New York? I know you guys. I gotta ask a question. Who was your first person in New York?
So a friend of mine started a company with me called One Under the Sun, and we managed. This was pre-91, so this was about 90, and I was still practicing law pretty much. But One Under the Sun managed reggae artists. And so I managed Mikey Dread, for a hot minute, Frankie Paul, Bunny Brissett, some of the reggae artists of the time. But I didn't know what I was doing. And she did, my partner did. And so she went on and I said, I'm going to continue practicing law. And so I kept practicing law. And then one day, my husband was in Brooklyn at a record store, a grocery store. And a young woman came in and he was talking to the owner of the store. And somehow they had the conversation where my husband was saying, yes, my wife is an entertainment lawyer, something like that. And this woman heard that and said, your wife's an entertainment lawyer, stay here, I'll be right back. And she ran home and came back with a cassette and gave it to him and said, please give this to your wife. And it was Vanessa Rubin.
Oh my God. Really?
So Vanessa Rubin wrote to me and said, she wasn't looking for management at the time. She was looking for an entertainment lawyer because she had been approached by management, but she had also been given a demo deal with RCA Records. So as a lawyer, I did her demo deal to bring her on to RCA Records. And then I was looking at her management contract and I said, I'm sorry, this contract is kind of oppressive and I don't recommend that you sign it. And she said, okay, then why don't you manage me? And I said, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm a lawyer, but I'm not a manager. She said, yeah, I trust you. Why don't you manage me? And so I did. So she was my first management client under Gail Boyd Artist Management.
That's incredible. And you've gone on to, do you know how many artists you've managed? Do you have a number?
I've never counted, but I would say it's safe to say that in 30 years, it's probably been 30.
Yeah.
Maybe 30, maybe a little bit less or more. But Vanessa was the first.
Wow. I know someone asked me when I was saying who I had on tonight. They said, "Well, who is she managed?" I'm like, everybody. I mean,
No.
but like really great people, my friends and cool people, and just watch the show tonight and you'll see. I got to ask you a question. What did you have for lunch today?
I didn't eat lunch, I don't think. I had oatmeal, a really big bowl of oatmeal for breakfast.
Is that a normal thing?
Nope, every day is a little bit different. I'm a vegetarian, so some mornings I'll have just egg and toast and things like that. I'm not a vegan, but I am most of the time because I like cheese and I
Right.
like
Yeah, exactly.
if
Girl,
I could give up the cheese, I would be a vegan.
I did that. I was raw for many years and I didn't eat cheese. And then one day I was in Europe with Rolf and they didn't have anything but lasagna and toast for us. And
Uh-huh.
I guess I'm going to start eating cheese again.
That's right.
That's
That's right. That's kind of me. I think I really would like to be a vegan if they would just stop making cheese.
Yeah, they got to stop. Just cows just need to not.
That's right. So I didn't have lunch because I had a fairly late breakfast. And then for dinner, I had 2 pieces of leftover Domino's pizza that had cheese,
Mhm.
black olives, and extra tomatoes.
Grace has a Domino's pizza in the fridge right now. I'm gluten free, but they do have a gluten free pizza at Domino's.
Yes, yes. And it's really funny because I know people always talk about this artisanal pizza and all that, but my go-to is just, give me a good old Domino's with lots of black olives and tomatoes, and it's just as good to me as any of the others.
I'm curious about this framed, are these certificates in the background behind you?
Yeah, that's my law degree and my college degree.
And you recently received another award of some sort.
The jazz journalist gave me
Yeah.
New York Jazz Hero of 2021. I was really excited about that. They gave it to me because of so that rowdy crowd again.
Sorry, the rowdy crowd again.
They gave it to me because of my alternative venues for jazz Facebook Jazz Talk that I do every day at 5 o'clock. And I've got a really special person coming on tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
Who's that?
Let's see, her name is, let me see, Jenna.
What, tomorrow? Me? What?
Tomorrow, you, yes. And you have come once before. You were one of the first ones when I started this in April of 2020.
April 2020.
So I'm glad to have you back.
I'm excited.
Now I kind of know what I'm doing because back then I think you had to come on to Facebook yourself by doing something. I don't even remember now, but it was pretty rudimentary.
Yeah, you had it. I remember because that was April, we were in the depths of it all. And
Mhm.
we booked it at like 1 a.m. You said, "Hey, does anybody want to be on my show?" And
That's right.
It's 2 o'clock. I'll be on it. Yeah, sure. I had COVID then, and I was quarantined and sick.
Right.
Sure, I'll be on your show when you're okay. Well, here's what you got to do. You got to come on, and you do this through Facebook. And
Right.
I was doing at the time when I started my show was like this, Gail.
Oh, I remember you would hold your phone up.
This would be one person right here. I'd be like, wait, hold on, Dave. Hold on. Okay, Mark. Okay, so Dave Love's here, and Mark Ruffin is right here.
I remember.
And then then the show would get really long, and I'd be like,
Your arm would be tired.
oh, my fingers were clawed, and then I put it onto a candle, and I strapped it on with a rubber band. You from the beginning was like, hello, I'm here.
Oh, see, I'm gonna hire you to be my publicist.
All right, please, because I don't have any gigs. So if you need a publicist, I'm happy to do it. I love doing that part of the business. I love publicity. I love all aspects of being a musician. When people go, well, who manages you? I go,
You,
my brother. Who books you? Me.
me.
Who does your publicity? Me, my brother. And not that I haven't wanted to. I remember, Michelle's been on the show.
I know. I saw a little bit of hers.
And I loved. So let's talk about your show for a minute, though. So Alternative Venues for Jazz is on every day at 5 p.m. Eastern Time
That's right.
on Alternative Venues for Jazz. And if you don't mind, after the show or when at your convenience, there are people that are, watching. And in fact, my friend Michael just said, my cousin Alex Peltz he represents the Ronettes.
Oh, wow.
And wondered if you knew him, Alex Peltz.
No, I don't.
And
is
Melanie,
is he in Chicago?
New York.
New York. No, I don't.
Melanie DeMore, Oakland in the house. So you started your show, Pat, and so you've been on almost 1,000 shows also.
I just do
or
one
500. You're coming up on 500.
Yeah. I was gonna say you do 1,000 because you do morning and night. I don't know how you do that.
I don't either.
But it's fun though, isn't it? And I've had people say, oh, you should find somebody else to do that because it's just so time consuming and you have too many other things to do. And I keep saying, but that's the fun thing that I do every day. That's like, I can't wait until I start getting excited around 4:30 to see what people are going to talk about. And so don't take that away from me. Take some of this other work away if you want to.
People say that to me. They go, maybe you should just limit it to 1/11/11. I go, then what am I going to do? Because it's when I see my friends. And
yes.
The other day was my nephew's wedding, which was a beautiful wedding from start to finish. Everything was great, especially the music.
Nice.
But at about 10:40, I looked at my mom because we were wrapping up and I go, Grace, she goes, what? I go, we get to go home and do 11/11 now. We get to continue the night.
Right.
And just makes it's great.
No, you're doing a great job and you're providing an opportunity for people to just kind of share with other people because the pandemic can be very isolating. And especially for people, A, who live alone, and B, who are used to being out and about and talking to people. And so, you're doing a great service and I'm proud of you for doing it. And twice a day, you're my hero.
Well, thank you. But I love what you're doing because I learn on your show.
So do I.
It's wonderful. You guys have to go. Do you know Maxine Waters? Of course.
Of course. Maxine is a dear friend of mine. Maxine Waters' husband and my husband played together in the Cleveland Browns in the 60s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Suzanne Hertzstam, who lives on Whidbey Island, is friends with Maxine.
Uh-huh.
That's what I love. This show's all about community and connection. And
that's right.
So you guys, I know alternative venues for jazz. You can find it on Facebook. And she's there every day. And there's musicians. And I love the whole new thing with the flowers. And
yes.
Has anyone given you a flower yet?
Well, I feel like I get them all the time. Like you're giving me flowers right now by having me on this show. Can I give you flowers
sometime on your show?
Oh, sure. Oh, that would be embarrassing, but fun.
I want to give you flowers.
Okay.
But I'd also love it if you could do a show of vocalists sometime.
That's my new show called Eavesdropping. Ooh. And what eavesdropping is, I tell people that I want them to imagine that they're in the green room, eavesdropping on a bunch of people just talking. And so the first one that I did was in honor of Randy Weston. And I had Monty Alexander and Naduzo Makatini and Rodney Kendricks and Elio Villafranca. And they were on and they were just chatting with each other. And so we were all just kind of eavesdropping in on their conversation. So I have not yet done vocalists. And I think that would be a lot of fun. So I'll do that.
Yeah. There's just so many. And it's so fun to be on the show when, you're watching it and there's other musicians on and we're watching it. But it really is great. And
thank you.
I love that you're doing it and you're doing it on StreamYard.
Yes, I like that platform because, I can scroll things that, if you give me your website, I can scroll it while you're talking. And it's just really easy and it's nice and clear and so much better than when you were on before, when you had to figure out how to get onto Facebook. Well,
there have been so many, when I've watched your show a couple of times, and one time she had car trouble, but she got home in time. And
that was Reggie Workman. It was so he was calling me on the phone and he was racing. Somebody was driving him and he was saying, I'm at 109th. Okay, now I'm at 112th. And I said, Reggie, just relax. It's going to be fine. And finally, when he got there and got home and they got him set up, by that time he was just so frazzled, because he wanted to be on time, that he said, I can't do this without you just asking me the questions. So, because, my show is not like yours where it's the two of us talking. It's really where the person just comes on and talks alone.
I know. I'm kind of nervous about tomorrow.
Oh, don't be. Look.
It's your show.
No, it's your show. That's what I tell people. That for that 30 minutes is your time. You talk about, I give suggested topics, but you talk about whatever you want for 30 minutes. And some people have done that. I had one person, a friend of mine who lives in Ireland, who came on and he spent his entire 30 minutes talking about how we have to appreciate jazz audiences more. And how if you don't do that, you're only doing half the job. If you're just, playing or singing or whatever for yourself, then just stay home. But, pay attention and honor the audience. He spent the whole 30 minutes just talking about that. So if you have something that Nicholas Payton, he wanted to talk about jazz versus Black American music, and he spent a great deal of his time talking about that. So it's your 30 minutes tomorrow. If you want to come on and talk about whatever, I don't interrupt you.
I don't know.
Although I give you suggestions.
And I need to go back. See what happened in that email that you sent it out to. I get like 300 spams a day, and then in between, I didn't
know about this other email. The only one I ever had for you was the one I sent to, and I'm like, why isn't she responding to me?
That's the one I've had since I first met you. The show, Melanie, Gail's show is every day, 5 days a week, right?
Yes, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, alternative venues for jazz.
Yes. And I have another show that I started called It's a Family Affair, where I'm going to have siblings or parent and child or cousins, just everybody who's in the music industry, but who has family members. And that started last week with Richard Howell and his son, Eli Howell. Yeah. So that was fun.
Talk about Abby. Well, we both have great stories of Abby and Betty and everyone. She's worked with all of them.
I didn't work with Abby, but I did work with Betty, of course. Betty Carter, for those who don't know. Yeah, but I love Abby, and I've met her, and I've actually been in her home. I don't remember with whom, but I never worked with her. I thought she was great, though.
Mosaica House.
Yes, Almanata Mosaica. Yes, absolutely.
And so the music business now, we were talking about it a little bit. Mm-hmm. You kind of hit people to what's happening right now?
Well, I think it's in a state of rebirth, and nobody really knows what the new normal is going to be when we come out of this. The pandemic has caused everything to take a giant step backwards in a way, and I think that's actually kind of good. Not the pandemic, but the fact that everything just had to stop for a minute, and we had to rethink how we're going to go forward. And so now I think we have, as jazz musicians, we have to look at streaming and whether that's healthy for us. I don't think it is. But what do you do in an age where people no longer want to pay for music? What do you do if the main source of selling your music is selling CDs on gigs, and then you don't have any gigs? Then suddenly...
And then people go, CDs?
CDs, oh. Yeah, well, what are these things?
I don't even have a CD player.
How many times do you hear that now? I don't have a CD player. And I actually don't really. I mean, I have one downstairs. I have one in my old computer that I keep here in the office just so I can hear a CD if I need to. And I have one in my car, but essentially I don't do CDs either. I'm buying digitally. But we have to think about that.
Did you hear the key word is she's buying digitally?
Yes, yes. Because you don't get enough money streaming. An artist gets 0.0002 cents per stream, which works perfectly if you're hip hop or R&B or even country. If you are doing, Drake, for example, does 1 billion streams. So if you're doing 1 billion streams and you're getting 0.002 cents, you're still making a lot of money.
A
But
billion.
most jazz artists, if you're doing 40, 50,000 streams, if you're doing 100,000, you're not making any money. You can't make it. And so you end up with all these CDs in your home. And we have to figure out how do you make a living now as a jazz musician if there's no place to play. And then when you do go to that place, people don't want to buy your CDs. So you have to start being creative. And I think, digital sales is one, or having digital download cards that you can sell on gigs is another. But we just really do have to rethink how we do that. And there are some people who are still buying CDs. Don't get me wrong. I mean,
And I'm
Lakeisha,
very grateful for those people.
yeah, Lakeisha Benjamin, who is one of my newer clients, she sells when she goes on a performance. She might sell 50 a night. And so, but if it's only one gig a month, you're still not doing as well as you might. So those are the kinds of things that I have to look at. The other thing I'm looking at for the music business, when the pandemic hit, I was amazed in a way at how many artists weren't prepared for, they didn't have their paperwork and their business set up in a way that they were able to get unemployment compensation, for example, or they weren't able to take advantage of the government sponsored grants that were available because they were, self-employed, and had never really set themselves up to be able to get grants and money. And so I think we have to take this pause to figure out, how do we do that? How do you set yourself up, maybe as an LLC, maybe, whatever you do. It took a lot of musicians a long time before they made themselves eligible to get unemployment compensation. They hadn't kept good records, things like that. So it's been a bit of a pause, but I think it's been good so that we can look at it and see, how do we survive? Nobody's going to come in and save us. We have to do this ourselves. We have to become, as you said, you have to become your own publicist. You have to become your own radio marketing person. You have to be a social media marketing person. You have to do all that. And even then, you're not making the money that you might have at one point. So we got to figure out how to monetize. And grants is one way. We got to start teaching people how to apply for grants and get them to do their recordings and to just live, essentially. So those are some of the things that I'm thinking about to keep me up at night.
And are you a night owl?
Sometimes my husband and I we're binge watchers on television.
Okay, we haven't even got, now we're getting good. Now it's getting serious. All right. What have you been watching?
So,
Take notes, everybody.
Departure, which is, I think it might be on Peacock, and it's this woman who is like the airline, if there's an airline crash or something, what's that, like the NTSB or something?
Yeah.
So she's that in London. And so the whole season will be about one crash, but she's unraveling, what happened. And then the second season, they sent her here to the United States because it was a train crash. So, I mean, it sounds dull, but it's really fun. So we watched that. We watched Billions. We're watching Billions because the new scene is out. And I like it, and I hate that I like it because nobody is good on there. Like, everybody is kind of detestable.
Yeah.
But I kind of like seeing them and their machinations. So we're watching Billions. We just recently started watching Chicago PD, and I feel really guilty because it's in its 8th season. And we accidentally saw one episode in the hotel like a week ago when we were traveling. And we're like, this is kind of an interesting show. So now we've gone all the way back to season 1. And it's really good. It's riveting. So we're kind of watching that now. We got 8 seasons to go through. So
how fun! So you're set for a while.
Well,
then you gotta take another one, like take a break from that one and go check out another show.
Yeah, sometimes we'll have 2 or 3 going at the same time. We love English dramas, and so we've watched a few of those. So that's it. But I am a night owl. I usually end up going to sleep around 2, sometimes 3 in the morning, and then I'm up, 7, like that.
I do. Oh, Rob and his wife watched all of PD. They liked that show.
They like it too. Yeah. Tell them Hank is really something. Hank is the leader of. He's not a good guy, but he's effective.
There's Chicago Fire and PD, or
I
there's
heard there's a Chicago PD, Chicago Med, and Chicago Fire, and every now and then you'll see somebody from one of the shows. I haven't seen the other two yet, but they kind of come in, and they even had Ice-T come in because the producer of that is from the other SUV or whatever, so it's good.
I never knew those. A friend of mine, I don't know if you heard the beginning of the show, he saved a bunch of people in a fire today in Chicago.
That's amazing.
House fire in apartments, I think, 2 buildings.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations for him, and thank God that he was there to do that.
How do you feel right now? He goes, kind of wiped out, and I smell like smoke.
Oh,
He's breathing; it's in his lungs. But I've been evacuated. I'm like a fire. When I see a candle now, I'm like.
Yeah, I lost one of my law offices in a fire in Chicago in Old Town. Yeah, it was my baby. Well, my son, who's 43 now, was a baby in the carriage, and I was living in Old Town in Chicago and walking him in his carriage to my office, and I'm hearing all these fire trucks down near my office, and I'm saying, oh wow, I don't know, that's too bad, somebody has a fire. And I got to Wells Street, and it was my office.
Oh my goodness.
And now I understand the instinct to want to run into a building. Right. I mean, because I had my baby and I still wanted to run in and grab some files, and the firemen were like, no, you can't go in. So the fires are no fun.
Yeah. It's Rob Morocco says his wife Carol, who's a phenomenal artist who I would love for you to check out her work. Hey, Michelle Taylor's here.
Hey, Michelle. That's my girl.
Yeah. You guys are like BFFs from way back, huh?
Oh yeah, she comes out for her birthday every year to plant my garden.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah, she does. I mean, she's so good at it. Yeah, she taught me everything I know about gardening. She came out and she clears the land, and she goes with me to buy this whatever we're going to plant that year. She shows me how to space it, and so it's her birthday gift.
Wow, that is so cool. See, Michelle, you're not even here, and look what happens. You get a standing ovation. William. Oh, so what I was saying, Carol hates Hank. I always tell her there's your buddy Hank, who's on some show that you guys, is that on
Chicago PD? Yeah.
And then Patty says, I love Hank.
See? We love Hank. I mean, he's flawed. Let's say it that way. He's a flawed character, but he's got a good heart. Well, he doesn't have a good heart.
He's a good actor, it sounds like.
He's a great actor, and he is complicated. He does bend a lot of rules, but he's effective. He loves his team and he loves his city. And what he has to do to sometimes solve a crime is sometimes not the way you should do it. I'll just say it like that.
This might be a show Grace and I might. Brent Bowen from Pittsburgh says hello.
Well, tell Brent I said hello. We love Pittsburgh. We were just there this weekend at the Pittsburgh Jazz Festival.
Everybody was there.
Everybody was there, and it's the best lineup that I have seen at a festival in so long. It was great.
I kept saying, I was at my nephew's wedding going, yeah, I should be in Pittsburgh right now.
Yeah, you should have been in Pittsburgh.
I'm a responsible relative and I love him, but I'm like, people are texting, where are you in Pittsburgh? Are you in Pittsburgh? Are you
coming? Oh, man.
Like, no,
it started Saturday with the Baylor Project. Oh. Then you had Christian Scott, and then you had.
Sorry, Jeannie Baylor's like my favorite.
Oh yeah, I love her. And I'm just trying to remember who else it was. All on Saturday. It was just one after the other.
Diane Reeves, was she?
Well, no, that's Sunday. I didn't even get to her yet. Then it was Gregory Porter, and then Marcus Miller, and then on Sunday it was Lakeisha Benjamin. And then it just kept going on, and then it ended with Patrice Rushen, and then Diane Reeves. It was like, Branford Marcellus was there, Jeff Tane Watts was there, Jasmia Horn. It was just amazing. It was really good.
Yeah, it sounded like it. It looked like it. And next time. And then I kept seeing photos of all you guys there. Oh, yeah, yeah, we're hanging out with and hang on. Love a bad. Oh, Patty loves bad boys. That's why she likes Hank. I think my mom and
Hank is definitely a bad boy.
we're gonna have to check out Chicago PD.
Yes,
And
Chicago
it's
PD.
on what? Where is it?
Well, I'm getting it on Peacock because I cut the cord. I don't have cable anymore. So I'm streaming everything. And so I would imagine since it's Peacock, it's probably NBC.
You're pretty technological.
I am going to call my son and tell him that somebody said I was technological.
Tell him I said that.
I am just like the worst. And he says my husband is better because he doesn't know and he knows that he doesn't know. So he's better. He's more teachable. But he says, I think I know what I'm doing. And so I don't listen. And so it takes him twice as long to teach me something because he says I'm always like countering him. Well, wait, what if I do this? Where my husband will just say, I don't know what I'm doing. Show me how to do this. And then it's easier for him. So no, I am not technological. Well, I just play one on TV.
Play it well. I know enough to get me in trouble.
Yes, that's me too.
Like I know exactly what to do to get on Zoom and press the button, and I know how to send you the link, and I know how. And people go, "Wow, Jenna, you're really," and I'm like, mm-hmm. But
have you seen how many times I have inadvertently shown up on camera when I wasn't supposed to?
That's the fun part. I like that.
I hate it. It's like, oh my God, there my face is again. What did I just do?
I love that. And I loved when you, was it on Labor Day or the day after Labor Day when you came on?
It was Labor Day when I came on. I was supposed to talk for 30 minutes, but I really am shy. People just don't want to believe
Wait, everybody, she keeps telling people that she's shy. Oh, I'm really shy, Jenna. You know, I'm really shy. I don't know. Well,
I am. And so I was supposed to talk for 30 minutes. I couldn't get 8 minutes out before I was like, okay, that's it. See you later. And I was shaking the whole time.
I'm excited about being on your show tomorrow.
Me too.
And I am inviting you to come back here sometime if you would consider coming back.
I would love it.
Good.
So you're gonna come. I see you at 4:50.
4:50.
Yes, and to make sure that you're sound. And I know, we'll muddle through it together.
And it's on StreamYard, but people that are here. Does anyone have any questions for Gail? Because she's super shy. If you have any questions, I know she'll answer. But it's Alternative Venues for Jazz, and it's on StreamYard. And if people want,
it's on Facebook. It's on Facebook. You still go to Facebook to see it. I'm on YouTube too, but don't ask me how to tell you to get to it because that's the part.
Are you live at the same time on YouTube?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But I can't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, don't ask me now. See, I'm showing my ignorance. I don't know how to tell you where to go to get it.
My friend William takes mine and puts them on there because I don't know how to. Yeah, because
no, mine is live. I mean, I get an email. Somebody helped set it up that far anyway. I get an email that says you're now live on YouTube, but I got to work out how to tell people easily how to get to me. I mean, if they do a search for Gail Boyd, maybe they'll find me. Or
if they're not on Facebook.
Right, but try to go to Facebook. That's why I did the YouTube for people who are not on Facebook, but I haven't got it completely set up yet. I will have soon.
So they come to Facebook, but you have to agree to be on StreamYard.
Oh, well, what happens is you go to Facebook, Alternative Venues for Jazz, and if you want to chat with the person, it will come up as Facebook user if you chat. But if you give StreamYard permission to use your name, then your name actually comes up on the chat. So often people don't do that. And someone will say, well, I see Facebook user is saying hello to me, but I don't know who it is. And sometimes it's that person's spouse.
Honey, it's time for dinner. Well, I'm excited to be there. I'm a little nervous. And you have over 8,000 people on
I have 8,000. Yeah, I started it. I had 1,500 when I started. I started this in 2017, and at first I didn't want people to use it to promote their gigs or anything. I just wanted musicians to talk to each other. And so I would kick people off if they would promote their gigs. I didn't mean I'd cook them. I would delete their posts.
Somebody's promoting their gig.
Yeah, somebody's promoting and they tell on them. So, but then when the pandemic hit, I thought, well, this page is the ultimate alternative venue. So I invited people to stream their concerts and make their money on it or do whatever they wanted. And now it grew from 1,500 to 8,000. Yeah, it's good.
And now there are going to be at least 9 or 10 more.
Well, I hope so. I hope everybody who is watching this tonight.
I have very loyal. These are my friends. They're my family. There are people on the show right now that I've never been in the same room with.
Wow.
But have spent the last year, the last 9 months, that I will be friends with for my life.
Forever. Yes. I have a couple of people like that. Destiny Muhammad is a harpist on the West Coast. I've never met her, but she comes on almost every day. And she'll say, good gratitude day. And she'll sit there and listen. And another woman, I can't remember her name now, but she's on every day. DeFay Anderson, who's a friend of mine. She's a jazz fan. She's there nearly every day. So yeah, I do have regulars too.
And then when I wonder if I don't see them, I go, oh, somebody.
I wonder what's happening.
Yeah, call Julie or call Rob or just somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really where he is. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're doing great work.
Yes, we are, and we're gonna have fun tomorrow. I look forward to you being on the show again and talking.
Well, I look forward to you being on this show again talking.
Thank you. Well, I think I'm going to go and watch Chicago PD with my hubby.
You got to get one more rowdy crowd there.
Great. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was so much fun.
It's so much fun. And if people want to learn more about you, it's GailBoyd.com. It is
GailBoyd.com.
GailBoyd.com. I'll put that in the.
And my email is the same, GailBoyd@GailBoyd.com.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
Have fun. See you tomorrow.
Oh, see you later.
Bye-bye. Oh, do you have a letter for me? Oh, she's gone. I forgot to ask her for a letter. Somebody, give me a letter, please, 'cause I gotta sing a song for you. I've gotta sing a song for Gail and that Pontiac man. Oh, gee, I think that's a great letter, and V is too, but I'll go with G and I'll add a V for you. So everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and be real nice. Everybody, I just like to say things once or twice. Stay safe, stay healthy, and be real nice. Grateful I am for all of you here tonight. Gorgeous thoughts come from all my sight. Grateful I am for these gargantuan words that come from my brain and out and from my heart. I just gotta say how very happy I am that Gail Boyd was here today. Oh, that V. It's very, very fun. Very, very fun to sing a song. So, and there's another way to put a V in this song. Alternative venues for jazz tomorrow at 5. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then next Friday too. And everybody else, I'll see you in the morning time on 11:11 with Jenna, that's a rhyme. And tomorrow night, display and share, but 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Alternative venues for jazz. Alternative venues for jazz. Thank you, Gail Boyd. And Good night. Love hard. Thanks, Gail. Really.